If you've ever thought, maybe this time they really mean it, stay with me. Because the most dangerous part of narcissistic relationships isn't the cruelty. It's the moments that make you doubt your decision to leave. You might already know the pattern. You might already understand narcissism. And still, when they promise change, something inside you softens. Your body relaxes, your hope wakes up, and suddenly, everything you worked so hard to understand feels negotiable again. Welcome to the eye behind the curtain, where we look at what's usually left unseen. Let's be clear that this video isn't about judging hope. It's about understanding why it's so convincing, and why it keeps people stuck far longer than pain ever could. Laura's journey. In the previous video about trauma bonding, where we last left Laura, she had done something incredibly difficult. She left the relationship. She stayed away. She survived the panic, the loneliness, and the urge to go back. But healing didn't feel like relief yet. It felt like exhaustion. She was tired of being strong, tired of holding clarity on her own. And right when that exhaustion peaked, right when her nervous system was desperate for relief, he reached out, not angry, not defensive, calm, grounded. I've been thinking a lot. I finally understand what I did. I don't want to lose you.
Laura felt it immediately, that familiar softening in her chest, that sense of finally being heard.
Before her mind could respond, her body whispered, maybe this time. Promises of change. Why promises of change feel so real. Narcissists don't usually promise change casually. They promise change at moments of loss. When you set a boundary, when you pull away, when they sense you slipping out of reach. And because they know you deeply, they know exactly how to sound convincing. They use the right words. They reference therapy. They talk about their trauma. They admit just enough fault. To someone outside the relationship, it might look like growth. To someone like Laura, it feels like hope is finally paying off. The idealized version. The return of the idealized version. Laura didn't just hear his words. She felt the return of something familiar. The warmth. The attentiveness. The version of him that existed at the beginning. The version that made her feel chosen. This is where the illusion of change takes hold. It's not about believing they have changed. It's about believing you're finally getting back what you lost. Let's take a deeper look to the if only trap. Starts with Laura thinking, if he really understands now, if we take things slower, if I communicate better. Notice how quietly the responsibility shifts. Change stops being about his consistency. It becomes about her effort. The illusion of change convinces you that this time, your patience will be rewarded. Insight versus transformation. Why insight is not transformation. This part is crucial. Insight feels powerful. It sounds like progress. But insight without sustained behavior is not change. Someone can explain their patterns perfectly and still repeat them. Laura noticed something subtle but important. He could talk about accountability, but he couldn't tolerate discomfort. The moment she brought up boundaries, his tone changed. Defensiveness returned, irritation followed, empathy disappeared. The same pattern, just delayed. The reset phase. For a short time, things improved. Texts were thoughtful. Affection returned. Plans were made. Laura relaxed. And that's when the cycle quietly restarted. The criticism came back. The distance returned. The confusion resurfaced. The illusion of change doesn't collapse dramatically. It fades slowly, until you realize you're back where you started. Understanding illusion. Why we call it an illusion. Real change has a different texture. It's boring. It's consistent. It doesn't need reminders, ultimatums, or emotional crises. Real change shows up when there's no threat of loss, when no one is watching, when boundaries are respected, not negotiated. Laura realized something painful. He changed just enough to keep her, but not enough to keep her safe. The moment of clarity. This is one of Oprah's aha moment. One evening, Laura caught herself rehearsing what to say. Not to express her needs, but to manage his reaction. She stopped mid-thought, and she realized something quietly devastating. Even now, I'm shrinking. That's when the illusion finally cracked. Not because he did something terrible, but because nothing had actually changed. The pain of letting go. Why letting go of hope hurts so much? Letting go of hope feels like grief, not just for the relationship, but for the future you imagined. Laura wasn't just letting go of him. She was letting go of who she thought she could be with. That loss is real, and it deserves to be acknowledged. The decision to trust is the decision that matters most. Laura didn't leave because she stopped caring. She left because she finally trusted patterns over promises. She understood something simple and painful. If change only appears when I'm about to leave, it hasn't change. It's control, choosing a new path. Hope didn't disappear overnight, but it stopped leading her decisions. Laura learned to choose, consistency over intensity, peace over relief, clarity over hope. Slowly, very slowly, her body stopped waiting for someone to come back. The takeaway you should keep from this video is, if you're still hoping they'll change, that doesn't mean you're naive. It means you cared. But real change doesn't require you to suffer while you wait for it. It shows up quietly, and it stays. If Laura's story on this video helped put words and an understanding to something you've been living, please consider sharing it with someone who might need clarity too. Sometimes understanding arrives exactly when someone else can't explain what they're feeling. Take this awareness with you, and when you're ready, choose what feels steady, not what feels familiar. This was the eye behind the curtain. If something clicked, sit with it. Remember, this channel doesn't diagnose, it observes. This video was an observational look at the hidden power dynamics shaping human behavior. You're no longer guessing. You're observing, with intention.